In this video, I'm going to show you how to file the USCIS N-400 naturalizations applications. So the first thing we're going to go to is Google. Then we search for USCIS N-400. And then we click on the first link. And then we click on File Online. In this process, we're going to have to create an account for the application. So we're going to create an account. And then we're going to type in our email address. Then we click on sign up. Once we clicked on it, they will send an email to the account to confirm that that's the email that you want to use for the application. So we're going to go to our email address. For me, I already logged in. So as you can see, we received the email confirmations. So we're going to click on it, and then it gives us the link. So we're just going to click on the link. It will go to the terms of use for the account. So basically, we just drag it all the way down, and then we hit agree. And then it will ask us to create a password. Type it in again. And then we're gonna click submit. Okay, in this process, I believe you have to do two-step verification, which usually means that you can log in with your username and password that you created, and then it will ask you to use your phone number or email address to confirm that it is you who are trying to access the account. So for me, I will be using email, but for most people, they would prefer to use the SMS text message. So they would click here instead, and then they would provide their phone number here. For me, I'll use the email address, and then I'll click submit. So they will send an email confirmation for the verification code to log in for me. So I go back to my email. I see my inbox already has the verification again. So we click on it, and then here's the code that was there. So I just copy, and then I put paste into the verification. And then once I just click submit. And then this is the backup code in case there is you get logged out in your account. So I'm gonna block this out, but for you guys, make sure you write it down, and then you can use it for later on. And then I'll put proceed. Okay, it will ask you to provide security questions. Please look it over the list, and then it will ask you 5 questions, and then you can type in the answer in case you forgot your password, and then you forgot your backup code. So for me, I'm going to put none on all of them, but for you, make sure you read the question and then select the right question and answers, okay? Because this is important. You want to remember what you put in case you lose the login, the password that you use. So for me, I will be applying this as the applicant. So you just click on applicant, and then you click submit. Now, once you are logged in, basically, this is the application for the N-400. So you're gonna look through the information. Basically, it tells you the fees it costs. If you are eligible to even apply for the naturalizations. So you start the application, and then it just tells you the summaries of it. And then it tells you the document you may need as well when you're trying to submit the applications. So, and then you can keep track of your application process using this account. So we're going to click next. Completing your form online. So you're going to basically redo the general information here. And then we're going to start the application. Question 1 is, what is your basis for eligibility? There are 5 options. You choose the options that is best fit in your category. Most people will choose option 1. They're at least 18 years and have been a lawful permanent resident of the U.S. for at least 5 years. Option 2 is you're at least 18 years of age and have been a lawful permanent resident for the U.S. for the last 3 years. And you are married to a U.S. citizen for the last 3 years. And your spouse has been a U.S. citizen for the last 3 years at the time you are filing the application, the N-400. Those two are the main options. There's option 4 that's very specific, applying to military people who had qualifying military service. For me, it's option 1. So you're going to click option 1, press next. Is someone assisting you with completing this application? No. Some of you might put yes, and then you will put the pair's information down here. For me, it's no, but here's the questions for those who need assistance filling out the application. Okay, press no, press next. We're going to look at your current legal name. My name is James Martin Lopez. First, middle, last name. Have you used any other name since birth? Yes. Usually people just use your first and last name. We put James and then click on the last name, Lopez. If you use any other name, just click add name and then it will pop out additional information for you to fill out. And then would you like to legally change your name? For me, it's a no, but some people might want to change your last name to their spouse name, and then they would click yes, and then a new information will pop out for them to fill out. This is what new name would you like to use? You would just type in first, middle, last name. For me, it's no, so the question disappear. And I don't want to change my name, so we click next. Your contact information. So we're gonna type in phone number to reach you. Usually this will be your cell phone. Just type it in. Daytime telephone number. This is same as my mobile number, and it will populate by itself. Evening, the same. Work telephone number. I will put my work telephone number in there in case they need to call you to confirm information. And then they already have my email address entered, James Lopez. And then what is your current mailing address? For me, my current mailing address is you would just enter your address right here. The first one in care of name of, usually you will put your name here, but you don't need to. I put the country, United States. The address is my home address, or where you want to receive the mail. And I put town, city and town. State, zip code, county, and then you enter, and then I guess they will look up the postal address, the exact address, and then you put it here. County, San Francisco. San Francisco is both a city and a county for me, so then I will click next after I enter the mailing address. Then we'll put in our day of birth. Okay. What is your country of birth? I'm from Mexico. You will put in Mexico, or you will put in the country where you were born. Then I press next. Your immigration information. What is your country of citizenship or nationality? For me, it's Mexico. On what date did you become a lawful permanent resident? I'm a lawful permanent resident when I was 5 years old. My parents moved over, so this usually would be the date you enter the US. So you can look at the green card. It will tell you the date, the exact date. What is your name exactly as appear on your permanent residence card? For me, it's the same as my legal name, my current legal name. When you click here, it populates. First, middle, last. What is your your A number? This is your permanent. Your A number is located on your permanent residence card. So this is an example of where it's located. Okay, so you just type in a permanent card number right here. This is a random number that I enter for demonstration purpose. So you press next, you finish that. What is your immigration information? So what's your social security number? What is your US social security number? You put in that. What is your USCIS online account number? Usually you don't have one unless you submitted an application before. So you do not have a USCIS online account number. You click here and then you press next. Then you basically finish the part of getting started. So you look at the top. These will tell you how many parts you will need to fill out. So that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. Each part has their own subparts. So this is like telling information about you, where have you lived, school and employment, military service, selective service, travel outside of the US, request for recommendations. Okay, so this is information about you. So describe yourself. What is your gender? I'm a male. Okay. What is your ethnicity? Hispanic or Latino? Okay. What is your race? I'm none of these. If you are, just select the one that applies to you. What is your height? I am 5 feet 10 inches. So you just click 550. What is your weight? You enter in pound. 170 pound. What is the color of your eye? You just click here, drop. These are the options. I have brown eyes. What's the color of your hair? Just drop bold black, and then you just click black. I have black hair. So press next. Where have you lived? So this part, where do you live now? I live in my current mailing address, so it just populates the mailing address that I typed in before. So basically, U.S., San Francisco. When did you move here? I moved here from 10 years ago to present, right? So I just press next. Making sure double check everything before you press next. Here is a history where you live in the past 5 years. If anything is incorrect or missing, you can edit or delete your entry and add a new address. Please complete 5 years of residence history before submitting your application. So when you have more than one address or one place where you live for the last 5 years, you would just add it in, make sure that there's no gap in between the years, and it's a full 5 years of history of where you lived before, because they will check those information very careful. So we press next. For me, it's just one. School and employment. Where have you worked and or attend school, full-time or part-time, during the last 5 years? Provide where and when you have been work or attend school full-time, part-time during the last 5 years. Include all military, police, and or intelligence service, and provide information for the complete time period. So we put add. Then we're going to add, I worked for the last 10 years. So I just put in add an employer. If you're self-employed, you can put in self-employed. If you're unemployed, say you husband work and you don't work, or you went to school, so you just select those. I'll put add an employer because I work for an employer. My employer's information, I would just put it in here. So make sure when you are entering the information, it's the current employer first, then go back to the previous period, go from there. So this is where I worked before. Star Belly. That's my employer's company. I work in a food industry, food service, and hospitality. You can select it from the list what works for you. And then I worked here since 10 years ago when I moved to my place. Then you click I currently work here, and I have 10 years of work, basically 10 years of work information, but you only need to fill out 5 years. Okay, so it will ask what is your employer's address. So my employer is located in the United States. I type in United States. The address. And then city. Type it in. County. And I just saved the entry, press save. Then it gets the school employment history right here. You see it's been updated. I have 5 years already. So I just press next. Then it asks me my military service record. Have you ever served in the U.S. Armed Force? No. Are you currently a member of the U.S. Armed Force? No. If you are, just put yes and yes. See, if you put yes, there's additional information you need to fill out. You can look at those right here. Okay, so I press no and no right here. And then I press next. Selective Service. Are you a male who live in the U.S. at any time between your 18th and 26th birthday? This does not include living in the U.S. as a lawful non-immigrant. I put yes. Okay, that means, did you register for Selective Service? Yes. What date did you register for the Selective Service? Usually is on your 18th birthday. So I will put in 02/21/2008. What is your Selective Service number? For this, you will need your Selective Service card to look at the number. Usually it's a number different from your Social Security number, or sometimes it's the same number. So you have to double check on that. Each people is different. So I just type in a Selective Service number and I will press next. And travel outside the US. Have you taken a trip outside the US in the last 5 years? Include short trips that last longer than 24 hours and visits to Canada and Mexico. I have been traveling the last 5 years. I put yes. I just click yes and put next. It will take me to, here's your travel history. If you have if anything is incorrect or missing, you can edit or delete your entry below or add a new trip. We count the day you depart from the US and the day you return to the US as days inside the US. We only count days that you spent outside the US during the last 5 years, even if your trip was longer than 5 years ago. So we're going to add a trip. I traveled twice to Mexico to visit family. So I put in my date. And countries you travel to, I put Mexico, and you save the entry. You see there's another one. Let me add another trip. The day I return. Mexico. So I just save entry. See these 3 trips. You start with the most recent to the previous ones, the older trips. So you press next. Do you have a physical or developmental disability or mental impairment that prevents you from demonstrating your knowledge and understanding of the English language and or civics requirements for naturalizations? For me, it's no. For people with disability, they will click yes right here. So I press no and I press next. Are you requesting an accommodation because of your disability and or impairment? For me, it's no. You will click yes if previously you indicate that you have disability and you need accommodations. So I put no. Next. This is information about your family. You can see you have your marital status, current spouse, your prior marriages, your current spouse prior marriage, children, parents. So this is a lot of information that you need to have and know. What is your current marital status? I'm married, and I press next. What is your current spouse legal name? So I would type in my wife's information here. Her name is Maria. She doesn't have a middle name. Her last name is Garcia. On what date did you marry your current spouse? We got married on January 1st, 2015. So I press next. What is your current spouse date of birth? So I just type in my wife's birthday. Has your current spouse ever used a previous legal name? No. Has your current spouse used any other name since birth? No. What is your current spouse current address? My spouse, I click here, my spouse lives with me. So if not, you would type in your spouse address right here. We can double check information. Let's confirm. Then we press next. Is your current spouse a U.S. citizen? Yes. For me, my wife is a U.S. citizen. She became a U.S. citizen at birth. She was born here. When did your current spouse become a U.S. citizen? At birth. And then we press next. Is your current spouse a current member of the U.S. Armed Forces? No. Some would put yes. So these are just information about your spouse. You can fill them up correctly. Just make sure you ask your wife to double check some of the answers. Where is your current spouse currently employed? My spouse is currently unemployed. But if she's employed, she was previously employed in the same restaurant I worked at, but she's unemployed. So I just click in unemployed. I press next. Your prior marriage. Have you been married previously, including a known marriage, marriage to other people, marriage to the same person? No, I only married once, and that's with my wife. So I put no and next. And then this information is regarding your current spouse prior marriages. Has your current spouse been married previously? No, my wife only married me. So I put no. If she did, you will have to put yes. And then they will ask additional questions regarding their previous marriages, like who they married to, how long, why they got divorced and stuff. So I put no, and I press next. Question regarding children. Do you have any children? You must indicate all of your children, including children who are alive, missing, or deceased, children born in the United States or in other countries, children under or over 18 years of age, children who are currently married or unmarried, children living with you or elsewhere, current stepchildren, legally adopted children, children born when you were not married. No, I don't have any children, so that's it for me. If you do, you click yes, and there's additional information to fill out regarding your kid. So, but I would put no right here. This is information regarding your parents right here. This section. Were your parents married before your 18th birthday? Yes. Is your mother a U.S. citizen? No. Is your father a U.S. citizen? No. I will press next. And then this is regarding moral character. You can look citizenship claim and voting, legal competence, party or group affiliations, crimes and offenses, immigration proceedings, military, attachment to the U.S. Constitution. So if any part of a question applies to you or has ever applied to you, you must answer yes. Your answer, whether yes or no, will not automatically cause your application to be denied, okay? So make sure that you answer truthfully. Have you ever claimed to be a U.S. citizen in writing or in any other way? No. I never claimed to be a U.S. citizen. Question next. Have you ever registered to vote in any federal, state, or local election in the United States? No. Have you ever voted in any federal, state, or local election in the United States? No. And I press next. Do you now have, or did you ever have a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country? No. Hereditary title usually means like a duke in another country, maybe like a commander-in-chief in another country. So if you don't know what hereditary title means, Google it. But for me, we would know. Do you owe any overdue federal, state, or local taxes? No. Have you ever not filed a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a lawful permanent resident? No. Have you called yourself a non-U.S. resident on a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a lawful permanent resident? No. Press next. Have you ever been declared legally incompetent or have been confined to a mental institution? No. Have you ever been a member of, involved in, or in any way associated with any organization, association, fund, foundation, party, club, society, or similar group in the United States or in any other location in the world? No. Press next. Have you ever been a member of or in any way associated either directly or indirectly with the Communist Party? No. Have you ever been a member of or in any way associated either directly or indirectly with any other totalitarian party? No. Have you ever been a member of or in any way associated either directly or indirectly with a terrorist organization? No. And then we press next. Have you ever advocated either directly or indirectly the overthrow of any government by force or violence? No. Have you ever prosecuted either directly or indirectly any person because of race, religion, national origin, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion? No. Were you ever involved in any way with genocide? No. Were you ever involved in any way with torture? No. Let's go down. Were you ever involved in any way with killing or trying to kill someone? No. Were you ever involved in any way with badly hurting or trying to hurt a person on purpose? No. Were you ever involved in any way with forcing or trying to force someone to have any kind of sexual contact or relations? No. Were you ever involved in any way with not letting someone practice his or her religion? No. Press next. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in a military unit? No. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in a parliamentary unit, a group of people who act like a military group but are not part of the official military? No. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in a police unit? No. Some people are police, so they would put yes right here. Were you ever a member, or did you ever serve in, help, otherwise participate in a self-defense unit? No. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in vigilante unit, a group of people who act like the police but are not part of the official police? No. And then we put next. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in a rebel group? No. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in a guerrilla group, a group of people who use weapons against or otherwise physically attack the military, police, government, or other people? No. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in a militia, an army of people not part of the official military? No. Were you ever a member of, or did you ever serve in, help, or otherwise participate in an insurgent organization, a group of people that uses weapons and fights against a government? No. Then we click next. Were you ever a worker, volunteer, or soldier, or did you otherwise ever serve in a prison or jail? No. Were you ever a worker, volunteer, or soldier, or did you otherwise serve in a group in a prison camp? No. Were you ever a worker, volunteer, or soldier, or did you otherwise ever serve in a detention facility, a place where people are forced to stay? No. Were you ever a worker, volunteer, or soldier, or did you otherwise serve in a labor camp, a place where people are forced to work? No. Were you ever a worker, volunteer, or soldier, or did you otherwise ever serve in any other place where people were forced to stay? No. Were you ever a part of any group, or did you ever help any group, unit, or organization that used a weapon against any person or threatened to do so? No. Did you ever sell, give, provide weapons to any person, or help another person sell, give, or provide weapons to any person? No. Did you ever receive any type of military, paramilitary, a group of people who acts like military group but are not part of the official military, or weapon trainings? No. Did you ever recruit, ask, enlist, sign up, conscribe, require, or use any person under 15 years of age to serve in or help an armed force group? No. Did you ever use any person under 15 years of age to do anything that help or support people in combat? No. In this part of the application, the crimes and offenses part of it, make sure you read this section carefully. This basically tells you if you have sealed records, you are supposed to disclose those information even if they are sealed. So that's about it. So let's go with the question. Have you ever committed or assist in committing or attempt to commit a crime or offense for which you were not arrested? No. Have you ever been arrested, cited, or detained by any law enforcement officers, including any immigration officer or any official of the U.S. Armed Forces for any reason? People would put yes here if you got like the traffic tickets over $500. If you never got a traffic ticket or never been arrested, you put no. For me, no, I don't even have a driver license. I don't even drive. So have you ever been charged with committing, attempting to commit, or assisting in committing a crime or offense? No. Have you ever been convicted of a crime or offense? No. Have you ever been placed in an alternative sentencing or a rehabilitative program? For example, diversion, deferral prosecution, withheld adjustications, deferral adjustications. No. Have you ever received a suspended sentence, been placed on probation, or been paroled? No. Have you ever been in jail or prison? No. Have you ever been a habitual drunkard? No. Have you ever been a prostitute or procure anyone for prostitution? No. Have you ever sold or smuggled controlled substance, illegal drugs, or narcotics? No. Have you ever been married to more than one person at the same time? No. Have you ever married someone in order to obtain an immigration benefit? No. Have you ever helped anyone to enter or try to enter the United States illegally? No. Have you ever gambled illegally or received income from illegal gambling? No. Have you ever failed to support your dependents or to pay alimony? No. Have you ever made any misrepresentation to obtain any public benefit in the United States? No. Then you will click next. Have you ever given any U.S. government official any information or documentations that was false, fraudulent, or misleading? No. Have you ever lied to any U.S. government official to gain entry or admission into the United States or gain immigration benefit in the United States? No. Have you ever been removed, excluded, or deported from the United States? No. Have you ever been ordered, removed, excluded, or deported from the United States? No. Have you ever been placed in removal, exclusion, recessions, and deportation proceeding? No. Are removal, exclusion, rescissions, or deportation proceeding, including administrative closed proceeding, currently pending against you? No. So we're in military service. Have you ever been court-martialed, administratively separated, or disciplined, or have you been received an other than honorary discharge while in the U.S. Armed Forces? No. Have you ever been discharged from training or service in the U.S. Armed Forces because you were an alien? No. Have you ever left the U.S. to avoid being drafted in the U.S. Armed Forces? No. Have you ever applied for any kind of exemption for military service in the U.S. Armed Forces? No. Have you ever deserted from the U.S. Armed Forces? No. Attachment to the U.S. Constitution. Do you support the Constitution and form of government of the United States? Yes. Next. Do you understand the full oath of allegiance to the United States? Yes. Are you willing to take the full oath of allegiance to the United States? Yes. Next. If the law requires it, are you willing to bear arms on the behalf of the United States? Yes. If the law requires it, are you willing to perform non-combatant service in the United States, in the U.S. Armed Forces? Yes. If the law requires it, are you willing to perform work of national importance under civilian direction? Yes. Then we press next. Evidence. So as part of the naturalization process, you will need to provide evidence to support your application. These documents help us to evaluate your application and verify your answers are true. You are required to provide several documentation now as part of the submitting your application. You will also need to provide additional evidence which you can submit now or bring it to the naturalization interview. Do not send or provide original documents to the USCIS in mail. Provide legible copies of your document unless USCIS later requests the original documents. So first you would submit your permanent residence card, provide a copy of it. Usually you can just scan it into your computer and drag it over. So let me just drag it over. And then it would just upload. This is not a marriage certificate. I don't have this, but you would drag a copy of your permanent residence card right here. So I remove it because that's not the permanent residence card. So your marriage certificate right here, I would attach it right here. So I get the marriage certificate. You just basically drag it from your computer and then put it here. It will upload. It will tell you if it's upload completed successfully. And then you'll press next. Okay, so let me just put in a picture for the permanent residence card just to get to the next process. So this is additional evidence to support your application, including this document now can help you make the application process easier, but you can also bring them to your naturalization interview if you do not choose to upload them now. Evidence of name change. If you want to change your name, you attach it right here. Since I'm not changing my name, I don't need to do anything here. Evidence of selective service registration. So usually you would just upload a copy of your selective service. If you want proof that you register it, you can go to ss.gov. And then additional evidence you want to provide. These are like attachment that you went out like 20 trips and then you couldn't enter everything right there in the application, or like offenses that you had. Say you were cited by an officer, those kind of evidence, you would drag it here and you press next. Yes. Since I have nothing to support, I just put it in. Now, is time to review your application. Check your application before you submit. We will review your application to check for accuracy, completeness before you submit it. We encourage you to provide many responses you can throughout the application. Missing information can slow down the review process after you submit your application. You can submit this page to review your application many times as you want before you submit it. So I just click review, check your application before you submit. So this is basically telling you the application process. And if everything is okay, make sure you pay your filing fee and then you press next. This is after you review it. Your application summary. Basically, this is like the whole application, all those information you enter before, they just come up as a summary. You can review everything right here, and if you want to make changes, you can do it right now. Otherwise, you go drag all the way down, and then you press next right here. Applicant statement. You must read and agree to the statement below. I can read and understand English and read and understand every question and instruction to this application, as well as my answer to every question. So you click next. Then it gets you the applicant certification and signature. You must read and agree to the certification below. If you are knowingly or willfully falsify or conceal material facts or submit a false document with your application, we can deny your application, may deny any other immigration benefit. You may also face criminal prosecution and penalty provided by the laws. So basically, you want to read through this, and then if you basically sign. I have read and agreed to applicant statement. You sign it, and then you click next, and then pay. And then this is the last step: pay for and submit your application. It tells you the application fees, and then you click here, pay and submit, and that's it. Then you finish. For me, I won't push the button because this is just an example for you guys. Thank you for watching this video. This is the end, and I hope you guys can fill out the N-400 yourself now. This is the end of the video. Please subscribe to our channel and press the like button on the video. If you have any questions and comments regarding the N-400 filing video, please comment on the video below. Thank you for watching.